Hi, everyone. My name is James Chitty. I'm the CEO of Talon. It's a private aviation management company, full service management company that does both on-demand charter, but really focuses more on the aircraft management side of the business. So full maintenance services, hiring and firing of crew, trip logistics, all the handling of the day-to-day of basically asset management. This is my partner, Al. He's the CEO of Apollo Jets, which is our sister company, which is, I'll let him speak about, but it's really more of the retail charter arm, so the ad hoc charter side, Apollo being the wholesale management side of the business. Obviously,
Close that door.
sure. I think most of us here are in the service business. Our service is obviously a little bit different, and I think that's really what sets us apart from most. But we value the client's time, right? We're ultimately selling time. So when we look at, kind of the either owning an airplane, managing an airplane, or dealing with an individual charter trip, it's what's the most efficient use of the asset for the airplane owner and for the ultimately the charter customer. I'll jump in a little bit from the charter side, and then we'd love to do a little Q&A or answer whatever we can.
Hello, everyone. I'm Al Pelagonia. I started Apollo Jets in 2008, December 1st, very trying economic times. We started with 3 people in an office a third of this size. We've grown to become the largest charter broker in the country. We currently have 57 salespeople on top of support and accounting. In 2000, James and I know each other since our first day in the industry in 2007. We ran into each other in 2016, and he had a brokerage and a management company. We acquired them, and then collectively, James and I bought Talon Air. He runs Talon, I run Apollo. Talon is one of the top operators in the country. And when it comes to charter, most people who don't know the industry look at a price and they think, okay, this is 25,000, this is 28,000, I'll go with 25. James and I are not just aviation experts, but we're plane owners as well. So we know every aspect of aviation, and the most important thing is dispatch reliability. Being the largest charter broker in there, we know who the good operators are, who the great operators are, and who the operators are that 1 out of 3 trips the plane doesn't show up, or it's 6 hours late. If it's an overnight flight, you can't reach the operations department at 3 a.m. Where Talon, we have someone at the desk 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. If we're anticipating 2 feet of snow, which we've had people stay in the office. We have beds and showers and everything else. So getting the flight off is more important than saving $2,000. And when it comes to dispatch reliability, a lot of people don't realize, like flying out of white planes, if anyone's ever flown out of white planes, a lot of times you get fogged in the morning. If you get the plane in position the day before and pay the extra overnight, which is anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500 for parking and crew hotels, you can take off in the fog, but you can't land in the fog. So if you're repositioning a plane and you see people taking off and you're in white planes and where's my plane, they didn't spend the extra money. So we detail what is the best scenario to get off the ground with the highest dispatch reliability rate. And we'll tell you, if you want to, chance the plane repositioning day of, you can. But when do planes break? They break on takeoff and landing. 1 out of maybe 800 or 900 flights break in air, and normally that's a pressurization issue or a windshield issue, or so the landing gear doesn't go up. So for the most part, if you get the plane in position and tuck it to bed the night before, you have a greater chance of getting off the ground. And I can't tell you how many times people say, this is, I have to go to a meeting, I'm going to make 100 million, or if I miss it, it's going to cost me 100 million. I always tell them, if it's going to cost you that much, go 2 days early, get in the hotel, for $100 million, I'll go on Wednesday instead of Friday. But again, we believe in offering the greatest dispatch reliability and the greatest service. Price is the price. I know we're the best value as a consumer, but again, we will educate the flyer who just is used to just getting a price and explain why something would cost 30 versus 25. A lot of people don't realize that going out of Aspen, certain aircraft in the mountains have different performance. So you'll book a bigger plane, but yet you'll need a fuel stop because it doesn't have the short runway performance to get over the mountains with X amount of fuel to go nonstop. Prior to telling you you need a fuel stop, we'll either offer a different plane or fly out of Rifle, which is an hour and 10-minute drive from Aspen. So when it comes to service and aviation, we truly believe we're the best offering out there. And if anyone here for themselves or clients is looking for charter, we would love the opportunity to service you. I think now we'll open it to Q&A.
I just wanted to add on real quick, but I think also from a service perspective, right? We pride ourselves on being proactive ahead of the potential issues. The things that Al speaks about as far as performance of airplanes or weather or fog, we're telling you about that upfront ahead of time with the customers, right? We're educating, we're getting them kind of across the finish line to give the trip the highest likelihood of success. So, I tell everybody, we can teach you all in this room how to charter a plane on a sunny Saturday afternoon. You have to judge us when things go a little bad, right? When something's out of the ordinary, when there's a presidential TFR, or when there's a weather or some kind of life-changing event, that's when we really shine. That's when we really kind of separate ourselves. As I'm sure most of you do in your business, right? It's a service business as well. There's a lot of people that do bill pay and different investment ideas. Not that ours are necessarily better or worse, but we are completely transparent throughout the process to really captivate, the client and again, make that trip ultimately successful in the long run.
Is it called Talon Air or Apollo?
Two companies, both Talon Air and Apollo Jets, we're sister.
Okay, so it's hyphenated or?
No. Talon Air is one entity and Apollo Jets is the other entity.
But you're,
We run independently. I'm sorry?
One service and one's flight.
One's
No,
retail.
one's charter,
wholesale,
one
basically.
buys
Okay,
and sells planes and manages planes.
gotcha.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I met with James over on the west side a couple months ago. And what I found most interesting is that because we've been in this space of talking to private jet guys since inception.
Sure.
And the amount of insider knowledge you had of the business and the way you're able to phrase that a lot of stuff is white label in the business where somebody's just using you as the back end to do the business anyway.
Yeah.
So for us, we're always about disintermediating front end guys and trying to get to the guy in the back who can help us do something. So you guys, so I just thought you had a wealth of knowledge about the space that was very helpful, because we've been through the whole cycle of, wheels up and, I've got the other guys who were like selling space for $5,000 and then it was for $10,000 and then the next subscriber base jumped to 20,000 and all kinds of, issues with those kind of guys out of Westchester Airport, right? So,
Look,
so we gotta just have the straight story.
the world has changed the past couple of years with COVID and people, the industry has grown so much and so many kind of new consumers have come into the space that it's just added a lot of players and they're not necessarily aviation enthusiasts or passionate about the service side of the business, right? It's just more transactional.
where are you located?
Talon Air's corporate headquarters in Republic Airport. Apollo Jets is up here on Madison Avenue, and we have a bunch of satellite offices around the country.
Where's Republic Airport?
Farmingdale, New York.
Farmingdale? Is
Yep.
that Long Island?
Yep.
Suffolk County.
I'm sorry, our current fleet, just to give you guys a little overview, right? Our current fleet consists of just over 40 aircraft, ranging as small as like a Hawker 800 mid-sized jet, all the way up to G550s and Global Express.
Do you own those?
We're a true worldwide operator.
Do you own those planes or are you, using somebody else's planes and you're flying them?
We are a true asset manager, right?
Okay.
So Al and I own planes personally, but the entity so we really manage, the client's asset. In many cases, we'll make that available for charter on an ad hoc basis.
Okay.
If the client wants to offset the first cost.
I wanted to answer your question. Apollo started, we were just a brokerage. We would call other people for planes. So picture owning a restaurant and you need bread, you go to the bakery and you get the bread. Talon is the bakery. If you are acquiring 100,000 loaves of bread a week, ultimately it makes sense to buy the bakery. So Apollo bought Talon, that's our bakery. So we use our planes and then we did a deal with Vista Global. So we now have roughly 340 planes in our family of aircraft that are our own aircraft that we own part and manage the rest. So we have other brokers in the industry coming to us using our planes 365 days a year. There's a brokerage using one of our planes. But that was, yes.
I was curious about the servicing of the jets. Do you do that on your own or you?
Yeah, we have our own 145 repair station.
We don't necessarily always do it on our own if it makes sense, right? If it's in our kind of wheelhouse of expertise, we have the capabilities to do that. But again, we have airplanes based all over the country. Our 145 repair station is here in New York. So obviously, if a plane breaks in LA, we have vendors there that we, preferred vendors. We have techs on site as well. But depending on the level of the inspection, depending on what the maintenance need is, will dictate where it's best suited to go.
I'll give you an analogy. If you were driving your car to Florida and it broke in Florida, would you drive it back to New York to get it serviced? You get it fixed in Florida. If you had a BMW, the BMW dealership.
I was just curious at how wide spread your servicing capabilities.
We're one of the
that
few
you
that
are.
has a 145 repair station.
Yeah, we're a Honeywell dealer. We're a Collins dealer. We're probably the largest 145 repair station in New York for sure, and really in the Northeast.
So you have a great view of the Blue Angels and Thunderbirds
Yeah,
taking
the
off
park's right next door to us.
on Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, you go up on the roof. It's pretty cool. Yeah,
But Marty, you should have one of your sessions out there on Memorial Day weekend.
we talked about it.
Yeah, we've actually done, and during Palm Beach Boat Show, or actually Fort Lauderdale Boat Show a couple years, we had a big party in a hangar.
Yep.
And the Wheels Up guy was always beating us up about going to his hangar parties and stuff like that, but I was like, my sister's a little bit of a trip for us, but maybe we could do it, maybe during one of the Hamptons art shows or something like that, so.
It's funny, I tell everybody, the coolest part about my job is I get to see so many people from different spaces and different industries. And for me, it's not like, hey, I'm just selling this widget to this same supplier and all I care about is getting the cost down on this piece of material, whatever it is, right? It's today I'm dealing with a real estate person, tomorrow it's a high finance, an athlete, a celebrity, whatever it is, it's a little bit of everybody. You get to see captains of industry. So it's really exciting when you get to speak to people like yourselves that are kind of in the same space, right? Where you're dealing with, people from all kind of different walks of life and different genres, and captains of industry as well.
There's actually a family office in Phoenix where the guy is a MD, PhD lawyer and MBA, and he sold off a huge medical system network that he owned. And he made, hundreds of millions from it. And all he does is kind of lives in his airplane hangar where his plane, since he's not a very social guy.
Champagne problems.
A champagne problem. Yeah, he loves to fly. That's his passion.
So you guys own and run the businesses, but like, tell me a little bit about your backgrounds and like, what do you actually do functioning day to day? I mean, obviously you run these businesses, but like, where'd you come from? Like,
I'll let Al go, but I just quickly, I'm pretty much a therapist for the pilots.
for the pilots?
So I've been in sales my whole life since I'm 6 years old. My story will one day be a movie when my wife allows me to make it. But I've lived a very colorful life. I started on Wall Street at Drexel Burnham at 16 years old. I got licensed at Payne Weber. I then went to DH Blair. I made a fortune, but we made one bad decision. I got indicted in 2000, and I had a very real net worth at a very young age, and I lost it all because of one bad decision. I went to prison. I reinvented myself in the private jet business in 2007. I have more celebrity friends and athletes as friends than any athlete or celebrity, I would say. Spike Lee is one of my best friends on one hand. I've been involved in his movies, and he wants to make a movie on my life, but my wife said no, wait till the kids are older. A lot of craziness in it, but that's where I came from. Where I am now, I work 7 days a week like James. I never turn off. I'm envious of my Jewish friends that celebrate Shabbat, because they turn off for 24 hours. I'm like, I can't do it. But then they work all through Saturday night when I'm sleeping. But again, we're hands-on as anyone could be hands-on. I love what I do so much. I wouldn't do anything else. If you gave me $100 million a year to do something different, if I did not love it the way I love the jet business, I wouldn't do it. And I mean that sincerely. I truly love what I do. We solve problems. I can't tell you how many times we've gotten people home to witness the birth of their child or to make a meeting or out of harm's way. We are normally the first or second call when there's a tragedy from the news networks who call us because we have history of having assets on the ground, not just in the country, but outside of the country. So being able to do things like this is very rewarding to me. And, you know, when we're not in the office and we both work out of our hangar in Farmingdale, today we worked out of the New York office. We're on the phone bouncing ideas off each other. I got him into the plunge pool, so we go into the ice tub, not together, separately. But we'll text each other, you know,
How many minutes
ideas.
did you do? How many minutes did you do?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're good friends too.
We
I'm,
are.
I'm glad I asked the question. Thanks for the answer.
Great job, guys. Thanks so much. This is one of the more entertaining